And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Olive, Nina, and Esme. Olive, Nina, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes," said Olive, Nina, and Esme. One day, the king of Onlyville's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Onlyville is going to throw a ball. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Singling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Olive said, he's going to marry me. Nina said, no way, Olive. He's going to marry me. Esme said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Singling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks Cinderella what is wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I wanted her to go to the ball and marry Prince Singling, but I'm not welcome. The fairy godmother waved her wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! And then, Cinderella's chores are all done. But the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has one pumpkin. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! Again, and to turn Cinderella's do-rag and clothes into a gown. I've never seen such a wonderful gown. I get a load of my glass slippers, and then the pumpkin into a carriage drawn by 2 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Singling was wondering who he should marry. Olive, Nina, and Esme said all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Singling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Singling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Onlyville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where her Cinderella and her stepsisters lived. He said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try this glass slipper? Olive is first, but her foot is too big. Nina is next, but her foot is too small. Esme is last, but her foot didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Singling noticed Cinderella singing. Cinderella said. Prince Singling, is that you? Prince Singling said, of course it's me. Cinderella gets so excited because she's having to have her Prince Singling back. And they lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story before bed enters doors. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to my video. Take care. Bye and good night, everybody. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Tetrahedral. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tina, Alina, and Nina. Tina, Alina, and Nina made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tina, Alina, and Nina all together. One day, the king of the Cobbleburg's messengers said, Hear ye! The king of the Cobbleburg is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Cobbling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Tina said, He's going to marry me. Alina said, No way, Tina! He's going to marry me! Nina said, Both of you are wrong! He's going to marry me! Later, Cinderella is so sad doing her chores that she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Cobbling, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Cobbling. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. So she chants the magic words, Tintity tantity tantity too, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 10 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, Tintity tantity tantity too, and waves her magic wand again to turn the 10 pumpkins into a handsome coach by 20 strong horses, and then Cinderella's were closed into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a sensational gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Cobbling was wondering who he should marry. Tina, Alina, and Nina said all together, He's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Cobbling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella is almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Cobbling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around the Cobbleburg to find her, and brought the 2 tiny glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door of the home of where Cinderella, Tina, Alina, and Nina lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Tina, Alina, and Nina. Prince Cuddling then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you not find me these 2 glass slippers?" Tina is first, but her foot is too big. Alina is next, but her foot is too small. Nina is last, but her foot isn't the right size either. Suddenly, Prince Cuddling noticed Cinderella's sweet singing. Cinderella then gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Cuddling back, and Prince Cuddling doesn't have to put the 2 glass slippers back on her feet because they're so uncomfortable. And now they've both lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers. If you want to see some sequels, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Andrew does everything, and buy our merchandise, etc. And take care. Bye. And now Andrew's Doers. Andrew Does Everything proudly presents for the free 500 episode special 35-erella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named 35-erella. 35-erella had 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Irina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. All of them made fun of 35-erella and made her do all the chores. 35er wench, sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said the ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters all together. One day, the king of Quintragitellingham's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quintragitellingham, his royal majesty, is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Quintragitelling." "Can I come?" asks 35-erella, but she's not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Tasha, the oldest stepsister. But her younger sisters disagree. They even tear 35-erella's best party dress. Later, 35-erella is so sad, distraught, and upset about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Quintragitelling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and comforts 35-erella. There now, my dear 35-erella," she said. "I'll fix everything for you." She then waves her magic wand. Because of that, 35-erella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet, she said. 35-erella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice." Luckily, 35-erella has 35 pumpkins and 70 mice. 35-erella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 35 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 70 mice into horses, and fixes 35-erella's torn dress and makes it bigger and better. 35-erella said, "I've never seen such a quinquadratic gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough?" and climbed into the coach. 35-erella's fairy godmother said, "Well, you can't. But have fun, 35-erella. My dear, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change. back to the way it was before. And gave her a clock to tell her what time it is. And so, 35-year-old accepts the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Quintragetalingham says, "Good evening, everyone." Prince Quintragetalingham, Quintragetalingham, was wondering who he should marry. "Isn't that right, son?" In which Prince Quintragetalingham says, "Yes, father." Suddenly, 35-year-old arrived at the ball. Just in time. "He's walking towards me," say Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Irina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella all together. But Prince Quintragetalingham is not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 35 Arella. He then says, "May I have this dance?" In which 35 Arella says, "I would be delighted." And so 35 Arella and Prince Quintragetalingham dance happily together. But later, 35 Arella checks her clock, and it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Hers. Prince Quintragetalingham was so really worried that he might never see 35 Arella again. The king of Quintragetalingham comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find my dear daughter-in-law, 35 Arella." And so, the king of Quintragetalingham and Prince Quintragetalingham began their journey all around the neighborhood to find 35 Arella and brought the glass slipper she lost with them. By the time they arrived, Prince Quintragetalingham knocked on the door on the house where 35 Arella and her 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters live, but instead of 35 Arella, they find Tasha and Ella. Prince Quintragetalingham then said, "Ladies, my father, the king of Quintragetalingham, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Tasha is first, but her foot is too big. Hilda is next, but her foot is too small. "Nonsense! It fits," she said. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, the king of Quintragetalingham and the Prince Quintragetalingham noticed 35 Arella singing, "Your Majesty and Prince Quintragetalingham, is that you guys?" she yelled excitedly. The king of Quintragetalingham says, "My dear daughter-in-law, we found you, and the glass slipper fits." And so, 35 Arella, the king of Quintragetalingham, and Prince Quintragetalingham live happily ever after. The end. Andrew Stewart's, I hope you enjoyed this story. Andrew does everything. And I've been debating on making the sequels a bit of tradition. So, maybe someday 35 Arella 2. 35 Wishes Come True. Something like that. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. Buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com too. Take care. Bye.